How's it going, guys? Winner Kills here, and welcome to a brand new Locals feature match this week. Here we are with the fourth and final round from August 28th Locals. We've got VW versus Invoked Dogmatica Shaddoll. Round 3 had to get scrapped because I actually forgot to record that match, so I do apologize for that. I think I mentioned that in round 1. But as these guys roll dice here, decide who go first or second, let's take a look at who you guys thought was going to lose this match. And 53% of you guys, just over 200 votes as I'm recording this, saying that VW is going to lose, while only 47% say that Invoked Shaddoll will lose. Which is actually pretty close compared to some of the poll results we've seen in the past. So let's see if you guys are correct in saying that VW will lose this match. Our Invoked Shaddoll player winning the die roll, getting to go first here, which is great. Starting with Meltdown into Alistair, which does force the Ash, but our Invoked Shaddoll player is showing why, he's a true Invoked Shaddoll player, because you don't need that Alistair to go through because you already got the invocation in hand, making Alistair essentially read as your opponent discards Ash Blossom from their hand. But lucky enough for our VW player, that's all he's able to do this turn is make the Macabre, and that will do it for his turn. Our VW player is going to start with Kowloon, which of course can activate any gate card from the deck, virtual gate card from the deck to the field, and he's going to go ahead and grab Chuche, which is one of the center stones of the deck. Not only gives you that great interruption and removal, but gives you a really good target for a lot of your VW, so you can send monsters and spells to the grave. And now we're going to see him activate King Long on the field, which our Invoked Shaddoll player lets go through, and then we're going to see him activate the actual effect of King Long, banishing Kowloon as cost to attempt to negate the Mechaba, and our Invoked Shaddoll player will try to respond, trying to negate the effect with Mechaba, but it cannot because Mechaba reads when a spell/trap card or monster effect is activated. So he cannot negate the effects of spell and trap cards, only the activations of those cards. So King Long will go through here, negating the Mechaba solely because he did not negate the actual activation of the spell card, or at least that's how I understand it. So a little bit of a misstep there, but it is what it is. He's still going to have to clear this body and still has to go through the Ash that we know he has in hand, which he does use there on the King Long search in grave, which is pretty strong. We're going to see him follow up with Pot of Desires to banish 10 to draw into 2 new cards, which will go uncontested at this point since the Ash has been burned and the Mechaba has been neutralized. So it looks like he drew a Pot of Prosperity, and he has a King Long in hand and what I think is a Gamma. So not the best draws here. Was probably hoping to draw into a Lulu. Literally just any other VW name at this point would have probably been much better than what he has right now. So, I mean, I don't really know what else you can do here. Yes, he did have a pretty good opening, able to out the Mechaba and, play through that Ash, essentially. But he's not able to do much here, unfortunately. I don't really think there's many other options. Now, we do know he has Gamma in hand, so I think he'll go ahead and, of course, try to make the Gamma live here if he can. He'll crash that GG into the Mechaba to take 15, and that will do it for his turn. Then we'll see our Invoked Shaddoll player lead with that Alistair that we knew he had. And we also know that he has Invocation in hand, so he doesn't technically need this Alistair Surge to go through. Although, giving your opponent access to a second Invocation, especially with Alistair in circulation and having Meltdown up, probably not in your best interest, because that just means a lot of extension. And guaranteed extension pretty much because of Meltdown and how crazy that card is. So we'll see him use that Gamma there. And also, again, proving why he went ahead and crashed the GG off last turn. I mean, our Invoked Shaddoll player has plays that he could make. Like, he could definitely make a Purgatrio right now and get in a lot of damage. I don't know if it would necessarily be game. But, like, it might be just better than, going and attacking the Gamma. Because you would still get your Alistair back to hand thanks to the Invocation, giving you a monster negate. And you'd be able to keep the Ash, too. Because he has Ash in hand. But the unfortunate thing about having Ash in hand as your only monster for Mechaba is because, like, do I ditch the Ash to negate a monster effect that Ash wouldn't be able to stop? Or do I hold the Ash and then try to negate a spell effect? I probably would have gone for the Purgatrio there because it would have been gaining 2, 4, 6, 800. And then Gamma has 0 defense, so that would have pierced for a lot of damage. Then again, I don't know if it would be game, but I'm sure somebody would be able to calculate that in the comments. We'll set one and just pass. And our VW player is going to lead with that Pot of Prosperity that we saw him pick up last turn off the Desires. That unfortunately didn't draw him to anything he could use that turn, but this turn, that Prosperity will come in clutch, allowing him to dig 6 cards deep to be able to take one, and all he needs right now is 1. Really just needs to find a copy of Lulu or GG, because that King Long can already turn off the Mechaba, and I believe already has, because he won't be able to stop it because it's a spell effect, not a spell card being activated. Now we're going to see Chuche after the Ash has been forced on the Prosperity, which I was going to say, this would be one of those instances where ashing the Prosperity would be, kind of good, just because, like, he's already on very little advantage and, is trying to essentially draw into a VW name. But he has the King Long search here regardless, because he's able to get that into the grave thanks to the Chuche. And that's going to go ahead and grab him Lulu. Which, I mean, like, you got to use the Ash somewhere, right? Or maybe you just don't Ash anything and just hold the Ash for the Lulu, right? Because that's one thing that's going to be certain, is that he's going to get to Lulu, whether it's off his Prosperity or his King Long. And I think most people would agree that Lulu is the best VW to Ash, just because the amount of advantage it gives you is incredible, essentially. Especially with already having Chuche established. I think that's probably what I would have done, but, hindsight is 20/20. Like, let him get what they get off the Prosperity. And if, he has to burn his Chuche on the King Long, so be it, because he's already having to pop the, the Chuche, or the King Long with the Chuche, burn the Chuche, right? Getting rid of banished cards, have to try to make it live again. Popping one of his own cards, and then when he goes to grab the eventual Lulu, you hit that, and then he's already, already wasted a few effects. But it is what it is. So he's going to summon the Lulu. It will resolve. And then on resolution, we're going to see Dogmatic Punishment, which could be pretty clutch here to clear both of these monsters off the field. And at that point, he just needs a normal summon. He needs a normal summon 100%. So yeah, he's going to try to King Long there, but our Invoked Shaddoll player reminding him that he's already used the Chuche there. Not King Long, but I think I said King Long. But he's trying to use Chuche again. He's reminded that he's already used it. And that double pop coming in super clutch here. The only unfortunate side effect of that really clutch punishment is it's going to lock him out of the extra deck this turn. And this is probably where he's wishing he may have gone into that Purgatrio. Because I think if he would have made Purgatrio now with the way that turn played out, he definitely has game on board, especially now that he's locked out of the extra deck, unfortunately, due to punishment. Yeah, he's going to try to play Invocation, and he's quickly reminded that he cannot, because the punishment says you cannot special launch in the extra deck until the end of the next turn after it is activated. So that would be this turn right now. So I think the only move is to go into the battle phase and swing for that 2,500 damage. And that's really all he's going to be able to do. I mean, we could see him commit the normal summon to Alistair, but again, I just don't think there's a point to that. He's going to go ahead and read Lily as the only known card left in hand. And the set is also a Jianwu, which is really strong. So next turn, he will be able to get things going here. He'll be able to dump something off of the Lily on top of the send it already gets. So he could dump like a King Long or a Kowloon just to get a card in the grave. And then also dump like a Nian Nian to sort of keep calming with. And he draws the Desires for turn, which is really nice. He does have the opportunity to negate this, and it looks like he is going to. That's 2 Desires already that have been activated. So that's 20 cards out of the main deck just gone, like that 22 if you want to count, the Desires themselves. It's a lot of cards to have been just lost. And I think pitching the Invocation there for the Desires is kind of the way to go. Yes, you could save it for the King Long and, maybe stop him from getting a card he really, really wants. But, like, you definitely don't want him to get 2 cards off of the Desires. He's going to flip up Jianwu and go for Lily. But, I mean, look at it. He's looking at his entire main deck right now. There's not many cards left in the deck. So that double Desires may be coming back to haunt him. And the Mechaba has already exhausted to negate, but it's looking like a little too much to get over. So our VW player is going to scoop after a very long game 1, 10 minutes, sped up 150%. So do the math there. We're into a game 2, and as we do start game 2, I want to mention a quick shout out to Imperium Duelist. Wonderful sponsor of this channel for a long time now. They sell all sorts of amazing TCG accessories at the link below, and you can use my discount code WinterKill off at checkout to save 10% off your entire order. And support the channel in the process. And if you guys are buying anything on TCG Player, please do not forget to use my affiliate link, which can be found in the description of all my videos. If you guys shop and check out using that link, a small bit of the revenue from your purchase goes right back in the channel, and it helps out a ton. It's absolutely the easiest way to support the channel for cards that you guys are already going to be picking up. Just click the link, do your normal shopping, and once you check out, you'll have supported the channel, you know, a great deal. So it really means a lot. So yeah. We're going to see VW go first here, game 2. No surprise. If you can establish Shen Shen here, it's going to be really, really powerful. We're going to see him lead with the Prosperity and reveal those 6. Almost accidentally putting them to the top. But remember, being reminded to put them to the bottom. As he adds a Lily and passes. No way to start off the combo here, unfortunately. 2-card combo deck, by the way. He'll set an Imperm in one other card. The Imperm hits the Alistair. You gotta love how good Alistair is, man. Just always forcing interruptions. But our Invoked Shaddoll player opened up like Bell, Schism, Shaddoll fusion. Not really, and another Shaddoll, I think. Like 2 Shaddolls, like Ariel and Squamata, which is very unlucky. Probably really wishing he would have been able to get to that invocation. I guess it really doesn't make too big of a difference, though, because he already hard up with the Shaddoll fusion, which does get ashed. Was definitely hoping that would go through to at least trigger that Squamata to get Wendy to the grave, to get something going. But unfortunately, he's just going to have to swing in for 1,000. He could set the Schism here, but I don't really think there's a reason to do that. So he will just pass turn and hope his opponent doesn't have the cards he needs to pop off. And that is a set Chuchi, lo and behold. And that Lily now has a target to summon itself. So it'll summon... target to send, so he's going to send King Long, and then for Lily's actual other effect, gets to send the 3rd type, so he can send a monster here since he targeted trap and sent a spell. So probably send Yan Yan here, or he could send Lulu if he's able to get into Vermilion Mech, because there is actually a nice little saucy play you can do with Vermilion Mech and Lulu. You know, if you can get into the Vermilion Mech, you can banish Lulu to pop itself and then add back the Lulu to get that really high ceiling starter / extender and make more plays from there. But we're going to see King Long activate, dumped off the Lily. That's going to add the Virtual World Roshi Lao Lao. And that's going to dump Zhan Wu to the graveyard on resolution, paying that cost. And that's a pretty good card to discard here. We're going to see him activate the Lao Lao, but our Invoked Shaddoll player does have a Bell for this, and I think this is a pretty good card to go ahead and Bell. That's not a card you want to fully resolve here. That's going to get that Lao Lao or Lulu out of the grave, but he'll have to work a little harder here using that Zhan Wu on the Lulu, and he'll have to discard a Gamma in the process, so not a bad card to make your opponent discard. He's going to go ahead and be able to Synchro 9 here. And I think we might see that Vermilion Mech play we were talking about. Yep, banishing Lulu, targeting Vermilion Mech. Vermilion Mech will add back the Lulu. Lulu target Chuche. And that is going to resolve. So he's going to go ahead and send a monster or a spell here. Go ahead and send a spell. And then he's going to go ahead and secure GG, which is going to be great to help add back in the end phase. So we've seen Lily, Lao Lao, GG, and Lulu all activated here so far this turn. And the only other Virtual World he's not used this turn is Nyan Nyan. So, I mean, he's pretty much run the gambit at this point, playing through 1 hand trap, which is nice. And then he'll use Chuche to increase GG by 3, going for Shen Shen. And he'll attack into the Secure Gardener. Secure Gardener's effect will activate, so he takes no damage from that attack. And that will do it for his turn. Secure Gardener getting banished, which is really rough. Probably prefer to have that light target engraved to be able to fuse with, because VW does not really actively put any light monsters in the grave for them to work with, which does make doing whole invocation shenanigans a little bit more difficult. We're going to see him set 2 and pass, probably Squamata and Schism. Squamata can act as a nice bit of disruption here, and the Schism I actually don't really think is live right now. I mean, it would be live if that Squamata hits the grave, so that's probably what he's hoping for right now, but that Squamata is probably not going to hit the grave here, let's be honest. I mean, if he attacks into the set with the Shen Shen, flip up, popping the Shen Shen, clearing it, allowing the Squamata to hit the grave, but that's only if he attacks the set with Shen Shen, and as we know, he definitely has other ways to clear the set. So resolving that Lulu that he was, added back off of the GG. And he still has Lao Lao in hand, which he can go ahead and just try to fire off again after we see him use this GG here. He's going to go ahead and dump Nyan Nyan. And he'll get to add one back in the end phase. And now he has access to a Synchro 6 or a rank 3. We're going to see Bamboozling Gossip Shadow, which is a really cool rank 3, which basically allows you to turn any monster effect into both players draw a card, which is going to come in very clutch here, because we know he still has the Lao Lao in hand, which he wants to protect that from Bell, and making Gossip Shadow will do just that. And since it doesn't stop the activation, it just makes the effect become that new effect. It's not like he can just reuse the Bell later on, because it doesn't destroy the card. He'll be able to keep that hand trap, but he won't be able to use the rest of the turn because Bell technically was fully activated, and you can only activate a Bell once per turn, I believe. So he'll make the Gossip Shadow, and the Roshi here going in undisputed, being able to resolve here fully after he goes for Lily, and he's going to bring out another Lily off of the Lao Lao, and we go for a rank 6 here. We're going to see the Ptolemy M7 detaching, allow him to add one back from his grave to his hand, or he can, I think, just bounce him back from the opponent's grave to the deck or something like that. Very, very strong card, just getting him the add back of the Lulu, and then he can get another add back, or he added back the Ash Blossom, I believe, which is really strong. So now we're going to see M7 attack into the set, and he's going to try to pop the Gossip Shadow. And I guess having the Gossip Shadow is also really strong here for that set, because he can't afford to let that Squamata hit the grave, because that will 100% make the Schism live, allowing him to go for something. Not the best, but possibly make something here if he has the right targets in grave. But I don't think it's going to matter here regardless. He's going to make Zeus, and it's going to be met with a Nibiru, actually, which is kind of like our Invoked Shaddoll player saving grace here, as he goes ahead and summons a Zeus in main phase 2, which would have kind of sealed the deal. And it will gain the attack and defense of the Lily, Zeus, and Shen Shen, and then end phase GG is going to add back Lao Lao, and we're going to see Chuche recycle a King Long and a Janwu to pop the Nibiru, not leaving him with any monsters whatsoever to work with, and giving him the sole duty of trying to out the token and the Chuche with all the follow-up we know he has in hand. He was able to recycle hand traps off of the M7, so it's going to be rather rough to play through this. And, of course, he got the Lulu back thanks to the GG. So, I believe our Invoked Shaddoll player has opened, drew this turn, a copy of Prosperity. Drawn the Prosperity. And then we're going to see him activate Schism after he sets a card, and that's going to get popped by Chuche. And that is going to be all she wrote for game 2. So, Invoked Shaddoll kind of getting the schmack down there. And we're into game 3, and unfortunately, we get started with a very poor opening from our Invoked Shaddoll player. It was very quick. If you blinked, you would have missed that turn. Just set one pass, which I believe was a Schism. And he opened up a copy of Talents, Bell, Shaddoll Fusion, and one other card. And it looks like our VW player opened the stones here. City into Chuche, into GG, dumping King Long to add Lulu. And we'll see what the discard for the King Long is. It's going to be another King Long. And now he just basically has his setup that he wants. He has a Lily in hand too, and a Pankratops, and a Lulu. Oh my god, this hand was absolutely stacked. He had the Pankratops if he needed it. but no need for it at the moment. Just going to hold it in case his board gets cracked later on by whatever means. See Lulu dump the Kowloon to go ahead and add Nyan Nyan since he has not performed a normal summon yet. And then we're going to see him Synchro 6 for good old Coral Dragon. And it's going to suss out whatever that back row is right now. And checking cards in hand. Make sure if he wants to use the punishment, but he decides not to. Which, you know, if he would have actually used that punishment, I believe it would have ended our VW player's turn because he discarded his only normal summonable VW monster in hand. That really would have done it. He would be able to dump Entis, which actually, I don't know if Entis would have been able to pop Coral Dragon. That's the real question. I need to see what Entis' attack is. I know it's like 2,400, 2,500. What's Coral Dragon? Is Coral Dragon 25? Coral Dragon's 24, so he would have been able to do that. That's interesting. Like, I would have taken the chance there and sent Entis to pop too. I feel like there's, I mean, yeah, you get locked out of the extra deck, but like, you know, it stops him from playing completely and going uncontested, I guess. But it is what it is. M7 is here. Normal summons another Nyan Nyan, triggers the Nyan Nyan Engrave, and goes for Bamboos and Gossip Shadow, which is great. And then obviously makes the Gossip Shadow before trying to resolve Lao Lao, trying to protect it from Bell. And, you know, here's Lao Lao, tries to Bell it. Ready for this very specific interaction. And we'll see if he uses it. He will, detaching both Nyan Nyans, and both players will draw a card instead of the Bell resolving. And, well, the Bell does resolve, I should say. It just becomes both player draws a card. And our Invoked Shaddoll player is able to dig one card deep, which he's probably pretty happy about, but draws into a Call by the Grave. Not an engine card. Probably would have much preferred to draw an engine card as opposed to a CBTG. Roshi is going to bring back Gigi. And we're going to see him Synchro 9. And he's going to go for Shen Shen. Now, this is quite a bit of damage here. 28, 27, and 1,000. I believe this is going to drop him down to 15 as the calculator is busted out. Yep, leaving him at 15, and he can go ahead and make a Zeus with the Downerd and the Gossip Shadow. So just a 2-material Zeus there. Could have done it over the M7, but, you know, might as well just leave the M7 for the utility. And then end phase Gigi to add back the one and only Lulu. And he draws an Invocation for turn, which is kind of nice. So I guess, you know, the Shaddoll Fusion in hand kind of makes the not activating the punishment worth it. Because he can just go ahead and fuse from deck right now, but he's got to play through Shen Shen, Zeus, Chuche. Which actually I don't think the Chuche is live because the Nyan Nyan that would have gotten banished by its own effect ended up just getting sent to the grave because it was used as Ixie's material. So we're going to see him send any 2 Shaddolls or any 2 cards, basically of the Future Summon Shaddoll, right from deck to grave, sending Wendy and Dragon. Going for App Galone, which is a pretty strong start. Probably going to go Chainlink 1 App Galone, Chainlink 2 Wendy, Chainlink 3 Dragon. Dragon's going to target Chuche, App Galone's going to target Zeus. And Zeus, like, this is really like pick your poison here because it's like, you know, are you going to turn off the Shen Shen so you can use your graveyard this turn, or are you going to turn off the Zeus? It's a really tough call. I feel like turning off the Shen Shen really sucks because you have to play around the Zeus, but like also at the same time, you know, turning off the Zeus is like really, or turning off the Shen Shen is just really good. We're seeing him commit the normal summon of the Hedgehog here, and there was a cut there because he linked for the Anaconda, but realizing he only had 1,500 life points back, kind of had to take a step back. But committing that normal summon to the Hedgehog is very unfortunate, especially since Shen Shen is still alive. There's really not much he can do other than just set a card and kind of pray. I'm not really sure for what, since he has a very weak Hedgehog in attack position, and Zeus going over top of that is going to be game, because I think Hedgehog has like 200 attack or something like that. He has Imperm, Pank, Lulu. So after some unnecessary thinking, our VW player goes ahead and uses the M7 here, detaching the Coral Dragon to go ahead and add one back. I think he adds back the Nyan Nyan. But I think our Invoked Shaddoll player reminded him that he's overthinking, and just going into battle phase is enough for a game. regardless. I mean, he has call by for the M7 target, but again, it literally doesn't matter. Doesn't even need to resolve this Lulu. Just needs to go battle phase as he reminds you, hey, I got the hedgehog here, just attack over it and you got it. Sometimes it really is that simple, and man, if he would have just negated the Shen, maybe he could have forced the Zeus, allowing him to use talents, possibly saving the game, but then again, hindsight's 2020. But if you guys want to see more of my content, click on one of the videos popping up on the bottom of the screen right now. And last but not least, a special thanks goes to Cadillacs84, Pony Stark, and Keith Scissors for being our 3 Divine level channel members who go above and beyond to generously support this channel.